The repeat, it appears I did not have my microphone set, and as a result, the sound wasn't really good. Actually, I had my mic pushed out of the way, and I apologize for that. But this is good. I went a little long on the last one. I don't want to go that long on these, so I'll try to tighten this one up. But today we're going to talk about GLP-1 agonist. Now, a GLP-1 agonist is a set of peptides that basically cause your body to have a GLP-1 like reaction. So GLP-1 is a hormone our body already produces. It adjusts things like our appetite, the motility of our stomach, also has some interactions with glucagon and blood sugar. So there's a lot of things that GLP-1 does that are really important, particularly around our metabolic health and weight loss. The GLP-1 agonists are basically these peptides that cause a super reaction. So it's a lot more than just what we would normally have. So there's a I guess they call it in medical terms a therapeutic response. Okay, the way that works in the human body though is our appetite drops to almost nothing. So we don't really want to eat. Our stomach and intestines are moving the food much slower. So motility in our digestive tract is much slower, meaning we stay fuller longer. Okay. There are also some blood sugar things that are happening all in this whole process. So it's not a bad thing. It literally is not a bad thing. If our GLP-1 was working the way it should, we would feel hunger properly. We wouldn't overeat. We would know when to stop. And so the GLP-1 an agonist basically super speed that. And as a result, you don't want to eat. So it makes it easier to eat a lot less. And as a result, we can lose weight. Now, the problem with eating a lot less is that you are now putting yourself in starvation mode. It's really hard to put yourself in starvation mode when you don't have something like this because you're always hungry. But with the GLP-1 agonist, you are not hungry. So you stay in starvation mode. And what happens in starvation mode is your body burns muscle and fat. So if you lose 30 pounds on one of these things, you've probably lost about 15 pounds of muscle. That is not good. Okay. So if you choose that you want to do one of these things, okay, you're going to do it, and the doctor prescribes it and you're going to move forward with it, there are a couple things that I really want you to consider. Okay. The first one is that you have to really emphasize protein. And I don't mean a little bit of emphasis. I mean, you've got to eat protein and just about only protein because you're not going to be hungry. And if you don't pull in enough protein, your body will start shuttling out muscle. So getting enough protein is important to make sure your body is retaining as much muscle as possible. So we're talking like literally half of your calories need to be dedicated to protein. It's one of the few times that I would say, because when someone's trying to lose weight, I say don't drink calories. But this is one of the few times I'd say you may want to get on a protein supplement, a protein shake as a normal thing, just to make sure you're pulling in enough protein to hold on to muscle. So, and then also this might also be a time that you would consider supplementing with branched chain amino acids. Again, just making sure we get as much protein in there as possible so that you can retain muscle mass. The second thing you need to do is you've got to start doing resistance training. And this is not just a little bit of lifting weights here and there. This is focused resistance training, trying to build muscle. And so you're pushing yourself, the intensity is a little higher, and you're really focused on muscle gain. You're probably not going to gain a lot of muscle because you're just not eating enough, but you want to focus on that so that your body gets the stimulus to know the muscle's necessary. We can't jettison this. We got to keep it. We got enough protein. Let's keep the muscle, and then it'll lose fat. But you really have to focus on this because you're not going to want to eat that protein, and you're probably going to struggle sometimes with energy to actually do the training. So these are two things that I really want you to focus on. And this is one of the times where you don't want to play around with this. If you're going to invest the time and effort to go through this thing, then you want to have a trainer. This is why I'm sorry, I don't think there's a way that a person can push themselves through this properly without losing a significant amount of muscle, because it's just going to be too hard and you're probably just not going to do the work, and you're not going to eat enough protein without a little bit of accountability and help. So I would strongly consider hiring a coach. And the thing about these is, I'm not going to say they're dangerous, because other than losing that extra muscle, there hasn't really been any problems other than the digestive problems, and of course the paralysis of your digestive system, which it could be a low problem. But we don't know the long-term effects, and we've had drugs on the market that were very successful at weight loss, only to cause other problems, heart problems and otherwise. We don't have long-term studies for these. So if you're making this decision, I can understand the decision based on your current health needs, but just don't take that lightly, and make sure you're doing the other things necessary to train yourself and to feed yourself, because you're not going to want to do either of those two things properly. So put the time and effort in to make sure that you're training properly, eating properly. And then this is also not the time to just play it and say, I can eat I can eat what I want, I'm just not going to eat much. This is the time to really focus on the quality of your food. Basically, if it is not eggs, fish, meat, poultry, or vegetables, you should probably leave it alone. If it's in a box, bag, jar, or can, just leave it alone. It's not for you. Other than supplementing your protein, I would avoid all other processed anything. Your body needs to be nourished. It needs that nourishment. You're not eating enough, so you don't want to come out of this whole process in worse shape than you went in. Yay, you weigh less. Great. You're in worse shape, you're frail, and you've malnourished yourself because you just haven't eaten good quality food. That's not how you want to play this game. So take some time to focus on the quality of your nutrition. As you go through this, train yourself to plate your food, to look at it, to taste it, to slow down, to look at quality and quantity. And then as you come off of these, you're going to be in better shape, because you'll have some of that. It's going to be really hard to come off of it from what I hear, but if you've done the right things, you'll be in better shape, and it'll be a little easier, and the results will be better. But if you go at this thinking this is just a freebie, this is my easy button, you're going to come out the other side very unhappy. You're over 40, and anything you do that's going to damage your muscle, reduce your muscle, in addition to what's already happening with sarcopenia, is no good. So with that, I'll say, if you're going to do it, hire a trainer. At least talk to a trainer so you know that you're doing the right things to maintain muscle mass, and you're not losing muscle in addition to the fat. So with that, have a great weekend. I will talk to you on Monday.